I got some new things, and I've moved up an old palette. Well, it's not, well, it's old, but it's not old, old. But I've got a palette that I really enjoy that I brought up because I really couldn't find my greens in what I had. Kind of disappointing, but I couldn't find my greens in what I had. And then also some other things I've learned. So, for example, we want to keep our white brushes clean. So they are now going into this bag. They are separate from the rest of my brushes so that I can keep these clean for that. Oh, very, that's something that should have been like, pretty much a given. But anyway, I also brought up this Nomad Monteverde palette. I really like this palette. However, it's the only palette I have with these two colored greens. Everything else I looked at does not have the greens I need for some of the leaves. So, on the one hand, I'm upset that I had to bring it upstairs. On the other hand, we've got greens. So, we'll be using that today. And then finally, I think, well, there's two things. First of all, I think part of my issue with this is that I didn't do the entire leaf structure, or leaves, petal structure around this. If you look in this image up here in the corner, you can see the petals, and I probably should have put at least two of the petals in there. I think that's why I'm dissatisfied with this kind of halo look we've got going on. No big deal, we're going to leave it alone. It's too late to do much of anything about it anyway. But the other thing is, one of the things I mentioned in my previous videos is that it can, the makeup is a lot like pastels, the chalky pastels, that work more like watercolor. So precision isn't quite the thing. So to get edges, I've been trying to work out things to get edges. And while I was able to use a marker to do this and things like that, markers are oversaturated. Once the makeup is down, pencils don't cut through the makeup. So I finally went and bought some fine line pens, and I tested one out last night, and I'm very pleased with this. This will work. They don't bleed through. I don't think. I didn't check last night, but I don't think so. Yeah, see, they don't bleed through. You're getting more bleed from the white cream than I am getting from the pens. Not getting any bleed through from the pens. And they have very fine lines. And so they're going to help me do what I need to do. And we have all the freaking colors. So I'm very excited about that. I did have to sort of organize them a little bit when I first got them because all the colors were mixed up. And this will make it easier for me to find what I'm looking for. Look at that. That is so nice. Puts a nice edge where I need the edge. Nice sharp point. Just like that. Makes me very happy. I did attempt to rework this a little bit more, but I think we're going to leave it alone now. We're going to leave that flower alone now. I think she's done. This is one of those things that's another, it's more experimental. Again, I think I could do one more thing for this flower. Need a lighter color than that. Have my bird channel, my cat's bird channel on. There. Just a little bit. But anyway, I'm very happy with these. So we're going to go ahead and work on leaves and probably the back orange a bit. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do up here. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I should probably draw this other leaf in here, because otherwise we've got this open space. And I kind of like having edges. This has no edges, and I think that's what's part of my problem. So I think I'm going to get my sketch pencil and put this other leaf in here. So apparently texturing greens is a bit hard to do. May require some of the markers, which is what I'm using here. Who knew? I did so well with my other citrus picture. I'm a little discombobulated as to why this one's not working out so well. But then again, I mean, I have ADHD, and sometimes I have difficulty remembering what I did previously. But every picture is something different, I guess, too. I did so well on my citrus leaves. Look at my citrus leaves. That's so well done. I'm very proud of these leaves. So I'm trying to do the same here. But as I mentioned before, also a lot of this is layering. You know, you put the colors over each other and you keep doing what you need to do, and you keep adding more color, and so you get where you want it to be. Just a little harder than I remember it, but I'm sure it was really hard on the other one. I just wasn't doing it in front of people, which makes a difference. I am also pretty certain that I struggled with those first leaves too. So why am I doing this? As much as you want sharp edges, oh, that's working really nice. You want sharp edges, but nature isn't always really sharp. So what I'm doing is I'm making it blend out these edges a little bit, just a little bit, while still keeping that sharp edge from the pen. So the sharp edges are still there, but they're more blended into the rest of the image. Oh, I like that. I'm happy with that. Still need to work some more on the leaf, but I'm very happy with my flower now. I mean, other than the fact that I need the edges on the outside. As you can see, I did more work on the leaf and finished him up. I mentioned before, possibly, doing stuff between sessions that we do here, between segments that we do here, because I know it gets tedious. I know it gets boring because I'm working on the same part the whole time, and I can see people just being like, okay, so we've watched you work on this flower for hours, and we've watched you work on this leaf for hours. No wonder it takes you so long, because it does take so long, because anything takes, literally hours. It takes layers and layers, and I've mentioned that before, that it takes layers and layers to get anything done, finished up. It takes layers to add enough color to get the kind of coloring I want. So I had mentioned possibly doing bits of it without putting it on the channel on YouTube. Nobody responded to whether or not that was a possibility for them, but I just figure to keep it somewhat interesting, that's what I'm going to do. I can go ahead and show some of the techniques at a later time, but I did want to play with that because I was having so many issues before, right, that I wasn't quite sure what I was doing before. I think the problem with the plumeria leaves had a lot to do with the way the leaves were shown in the picture. So it was a little harder, I guess, I want to say. It was just more difficult in general for me. And I think that's part of the reason I'm no longer going to do stuff on the outside. And I honestly should have just done this flower and then done the petals and had that hard stop there. I didn't. It's okay. As I noted before, this is a learning experience. And that's a little darker than I wanted, but we'll fix it right now. I want to. So I can tell you some of the things that I did. Somebody mentioned that they would like to hear some of the process. They also mentioned me possibly doing things like what true crime thing I'm following or whatever. The only thing I can think of right now that would fall into that category is the trials that I'm following on Emily D. Baker. You guys can let me know down below if you're interested in anything like that. Can't say. I'm not a lawyer. I'm I'm not into any of that, really. And I'm trying to avoid being too political on here, although I'm pretty sure most of you know that I'm very progressive. At least you should know if you've seen me on Facebook, that I'm fairly progressive. And so for me, I'm not sure what I would talk about. I can't do my stories, and I might actually be um, stopping that for a little bit and then coming back to it later. Part of the problem with the stories is having enough material, and I cannot do this and read stories at the same time. I can just pretty much give opinions, and that's about it. Opinions, folks. I do opinions, so I'm getting into yellow over here. It's a lighter yellow than that. Pull this over. So, I don't know if you all can see the difference. This is a bit of a darker yellow, so I'm getting into this yellow. But anyway, so I can talk about the process like I've been doing, which is to, you know, bring it up when I'm working on things now and then just go back into the music. I don't know what else I would talk about, honestly. Like I said, I am following a few trials, but I'm following them on Emily D. Baker mostly. I do listen to a few others upon occasion, but all I would be able to give is my uneducated opinion. So I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Everything I've learned from Emily. I can't even talk much about what's going on in my life because I don't go out much anymore. I stay home with my son, and I take care of him, or I should say I keep an eye on him. He cannot live home alone. If there were anything to happen over here, he would not know how to handle it. He wouldn't know what to do. So I don't have anything like that going on. I'm just here doing my thing. I am interested in talking to y'all. I can't do lives because I can't, the way I set up my phone, which is my filming piece, which is how I film, through my phone, because I can't, the way the phone is set up, I wouldn't see the comments. So I'm trying to figure out ways to make this more interesting for you guys, but I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. So some things I did on this leaf. Obviously a lot of layering. I had to pull in, as I mentioned before, I had to pull in another palette to work on it. Given the number of palettes I have, I was really kind of surprised at how few I had in how I had very few that had similar or the same colors of green. And it was kind of interestingly eye-opening. I have a lot of palettes, folks. You would think that with all of the palettes I have, that I could find two or three of this color of green, or of this color of green, or even of this more true green that I'm using now. And I was just really surprised that there just wasn't as much as I thought. So I was talking about what I did over here. So there was a lot of layering, which is what I'm starting on this. I'm getting colors in. There will be more colors added. So a lot of stuff will disappear and then reappear as I work. I did actually use a bit of one of the pencils in here, which showed up nicely. I was afraid it wouldn't show up, so I think my lines are a bit sloppy, but that's fine. They can be sloppy, right? And I just kept layering and layering and putting in the right colors that I wanted. I used my new fine line pens to outline and to do the center. And yeah, so the texture thing is mostly pencil. You'll see me do a whole different technique, I think, on the orange. I already have a plan for this little bud. How's that? You need to get that white in there. So I'm using the eyeshadow to help set this. That's why it's white on white, because I want to keep that fairly white. I'm going to be doing some changing in a minute. I'm getting some green in there, and I don't want green in there. But this stuff doesn't set down unless it's powdered. So I'll work a bit more on that leaf a little bit later. Like I said, I don't want to bore you all with the minutiae, I guess. All the little bits. You all will have to let me know I'm getting lost in the picture again. I told you guys this happens. You all will have to let me know if you're more interested in the minutiae. But I can go back and forth between a couple of different things. And like I said, you'll have to let me know if If you're interested in me talking through the whole thing or doing what I've just started doing, and mostly playing music, but breaking in and talking now and then as I work. See, that's the other thing to me. If I were to do something like, what am I following in terms of true crime stories or whatever, you guys would have to hear me talk all the time. All the time. Because I lose track of my place so easily. Alright, so here's the downside of doing the flowers like the plumeria. We're in front of oranges, for crying out loud. Something I have to work with. I have to learn to help distinguish everything, I guess. I'm using the colored pencil to help give me a firmer line that I'm working in. The lighter sketch pencil part is just a great start for where I am, but the colored pencil helps me to see where I'm at and where I should be coloring and coloring these in. I have to say, it is very weird to already be happier with this than I am with the plumeria that I was doing. And I've just started this. As they say, there's plenty of time to screw it up, I guess. Those pencil lines are just good starting points. Things might go outside them. Because as I've said before, makeup just isn't a very precise medium. I am learning. I want to pull more brushes out of my brush set because some of them just don't work for what I want. And I'm learning which ones I like the best and which ones just aren't that helpful. Unfortunately. Thing with a bunch of talking is it will lengthen out. It will lengthen out the sessions, the recording. What you guys finally see. These usually, I'm already cutting them down I'm already cutting them down from anywhere from an hour and a half or 2 hours down to 30 to 40 minutes if I can. That's what I'm looking to do. And if I'm talking, I can't do that. So you guys will have to tell me what you find interesting, what you would like. Would you like them longer? Do you want more chit chat? That they would end up way too long. And if I did fewer sessions, or made the sets, tried to equal out the time on the sessions to accommodate the talk, so it's still only 30 or 40 minutes, we would end up with a heck of a lot more sessions on the same piece. And I think the same piece could be just as boring as anything else. I don't know. I really do need input on how you all would like to see how interesting, how you guys think, what you guys think would make it more interesting. I mean, one way or another, I've honestly found something I really love doing. And, I mean, so I'm probably going to keep doing it one way or the other. And if I don't get input, I'm just going to probably stick with the music and just focus on what I enjoy doing instead of forcing myself. I shouldn't say forcing myself. I like talking to you guys. I like talking. But as you've noticed with this, that there are times when I just fall silent when I'm working, and that's because I'm focused and concentrated. And so, if I don't get any input, I'll probably just keep doing it that way. I'm really enjoying it. I suppose another thing I could do is Q&As. I bet they come to see you, not me. To watch your shenanigans. Okay. No. 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 Baby, stop. Alrighty, folks, so I think that's going to be it for today. For the most part. I'm actually feeling pretty good about the progress this time around. I'm not futzing as much, I guess that's part of it. But also, I think, well, I am futzing with it more as much. But also, I really am enjoying it a bit more than the Plumeras. I think making that decision to do more closed off work for the time being. One of these days I will get to my own work after I get used to doing more complicated work. I think this one is a little bit more complicated than the other citrus I did. Especially when we get up into these flowers, I'm a little nervous about that. But in general, I am currently very happy with the progress. Well, except for my alien pod, which is supposed to be a leaf on its side that curled up and didn't quite work out that way. It just looks odd. But you know what? Learning. Anyway, I hope that you've liked what you've seen and listened to today, because we did do some chit-chatting today. And let me know down below some of the answers to my questions that I asked a little earlier. And like, share, subscribe, comment, give me an orange heart if you don't want to do anything else. And we will see you later.